Hello and welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. David Ornstein this morning has been busy. Man United will sign Baleba for 60 million plus 5. This is what David Ornstein has broken this morning. And as we know, when David Ornstein speaks, we listen. He is fed this directly from the club. So United have made their move. Let me know what you think about this, about Baleba to United. I will give you my view and opinion, and this goes to what we've been saying on this channel, to what I've said on this channel the last couple of weeks, and we'll get into all that as well. I'll go into why they've moved for him over Kone. I'll tell you why they've moved from Kone to him, why it's always been Baleba. Why has it always been him? And again, look, is this a bold, shrewd move? What sort of move is this? And we will tell you that. So look, this is breaking news. David Ornstein in the last 20 minutes has broken this as well. Is look, Baleba to this club is going to happen. 60 plus 5. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on that. The breaking news: Baleba to United. Look, this is where we are on this deal, and I would love to get your views and opinions on that as well. So look, United have made their move. They have. Look, I was always convinced that they were always going to sign one more player. I do want to know. It makes me feel sad, but I hope his form will come back. And look, guys, please get in there as well. Please give a like on the video. So look, where do we start on all of this? Look, I want your views and opinions, and I'll give you, again, as I say, my thoughts and opinions on this as well. So look, Baleba from Brighton. Now, the interesting thing on this is, look, the one thing I've always been told, and I said this on the show a couple of, I think it was last week, if Brighton reduced the price down to 60 million, if you go back over the videos, one of the things that I specifically said was you've got to watch out for, you got to watch out for him. You have to watch out for a Kone, and you got to watch out for a Sander Berge. Now, one of the things I said a couple of weeks ago was this: Baleba, if his price is 60 million plus 5, 60 million, United will move on that deal. That has been said. I've said that has been out there, and there's a reason why I said this. Number one is, look, again, this is industry known. This is out there. This is not something that I've necessarily specifically been told, but this is something that I've known for quite some time, that United want to do this deal. They absolutely love this player, and this is something that they want to do, and they've wanted to do this now for quite some time. So the moment that a Brighton has brought that price down, now one of the things that's expedited, and I can tell you this, one of the things that has expedited this deal is that the Geordies have money. As I said to you, so Newcastle like the player. They are primed to do the deal. They are primed and they like the player. And we will talk about the player. We'll talk about the mechanics at the moment of why we are doing this, why we have moved for this player. Now, why we have hung on. And look, Ineos will sell this to you as a win. Ineos will look to sell this to you as a fantastic deal. Look, this is cheap. This is cheap, and this is a gamble deal. So look, Baleba, please give me your opinions. Look, if you have just joined, David Ornstein has confirmed in the last half an hour or so that Baleba to us will effectively be happening 60 million plus 5. I believe me and some others have been saying in and around 60 plus 5 will get the deal done. Now look, why do I say that that's a cheap deal? Please get in the comments, and I will talk about that as well. Look, 60 plus 5 is a very, very good deal. Now, when we're looking at UEFA squad cap, when I look at the fees and the deals, one of the things why to United, so let me tell you something. Kone, the reason why we went back in for Kone and the reason why we basically then have again pulled out for Kone is because Roma want around about 60 million. They want 60 million plus the wages of Kone are going to be in and around. He wants 150. Now, Baleba is an easier deal to do, and also Baleba, the price. The price for Baleba and the wages combined is so cheap. I've always said this on this deal. The one thing that you've got to understand about what this club does and how it operates in the market, it's not just about the fees. 65 may seem expensive to some people, but when you apportion 60 million, 65 over 5 years, is 13 million pounds a year over 5 years on a player that you could potentially have for 10 years. This is a cheap deal for United to do. This is an easy deal to do. Now, where the pivotal part comes into this, Baleba, I think, is only getting paid 30,000 pounds a week. We will put him on 120, if that. So not only are we going to get Baleba for 13 million pounds, it's not 100 million pounds, and we'll talk about why United will look to sell this to you as an amazing deal. It is cheap as chips. It's going to cost roughly, I would say, all in together, you're probably looking at around, if he's on 120, what's that, 240, 480, 6 million, maybe 7 million at most. This deal's going to cost you roughly 18 million pounds per year, which for a player as to what they are looking to sign, then that is a really, really cheap deal. So look, Scott, this has been confirmed by David Ornstein this morning. This has come out by Ornstein this morning saying that we will do the deal for 60 plus 5. And the reason why we're going to do this deal is because, of course, so Brighton know. They absolutely know. And look, again, have we been played? Is this the start? Look, we've been saying at the very start of the season, all roads have always led to him. Do I think that he's a marquee signing? We will get onto the player. And please get in your chats and your views and opinions. And I promise you, I will get into the chat on the player, what I've said about the player, what I think about the player. So, look, if you have just joined, David Ornstein, this is not Fabrizio Romano. This is David Ornstein has dropped Baleba, Carlos Baleba to United, 60 plus 5. Look, I know he does, but I think on this occasion, Scott, I don't think he is, because look, I don't think that David Ornstein at this point in time, at this point of the window, is basically going to put that out there if it's not true. Look, you know how I feel about David Ornstein, how I feel about Fabrizio Romano and everybody else. Baleba, look, we've always maintained Baleba on this channel is always one to watch. And last week, it's all there. Go back, try and find the clips of me. I've said if Brighton reduce this price down to 60 million, United will move. And the reason why we will move on this deal is because it is cheap. 65. The reason why this is cheaper than a Fernandes deal, the reason why this is cheaper than a Kone deal, the reason why this is probably cheaper, or just as this is cheaper than a Sander Berge move. Now, I tell you the reason again why is because, look, Baleba is 22 years old. Over a 5-year deal, if you buy him over a 5-year deal, you spread 65 million, is 13 million pounds a year. In 5 years' time, Baleba is going to be 27, 28. He will be profit. He will be paid off. Even if at the very most he doesn't do particularly well and you sell him for 20 to 30 million after 2 or 3 years, then it's only going to cost you a limited amount of money. Now, United will sell this, as I say, as a wondrous deal on the fact that they were going to offer 100 million, or Brighton wanted 100. But this year they want 60 to 65 million. Look, I will again. I will come into the chat as well. So look, 65. Look, we all asked for another signing. I asked for another signing. If you have just joined, Baleba to United, this has been now confirmed by David Ornstein that this is going to happen. I believe this will now happen. And look, this has always been the case in my view. Look, I almost think again that this is a bit of spin. I think maybe we've been skirting around everything else in the hopes that Brighton will get the price down. And one of the reasons why we're looking to do this deal as well is because we are guaranteed Carlos Baleba doesn't want anybody else. He doesn't want a Newcastle, even though I'm sure he would be more than happy to go to them. He doesn't want to go to Newcastle. Look, it is no disrespect to them. He doesn't want to go. This is one of the easiest, cheapest deals that we could possibly do, because Baleba only wants to come to this club. So look, I'm going to get into the chat, and then I'm going to give you my own personal opinion on the player. I'll give you my view and opinion on this player, what I've said in the past, what I think now, and it's going to be a very, very interesting one. So look, guys, please get into your chat. So Bob says, better than a smack in the gob. I wanted him last season. Yes, I agree with you. Ineos are a disgrace. Exactly. It makes me sad, but I hope his form will come back to what it was 2 seasons ago. Hit the like button. Exactly. Please give the like button a hit. It really does help the channel out. I think he fits what we need, but a left back, says Andy. I said it yesterday, it would be Baleba. Yeah, look, Natasha, look, we've spoken on this channel for quite some time. I think we've been in agreement that I think it was always going to be Baleba, one of Baleba, Kone. I mean, if you watched the show, I think it was last week, that's what I said on the show, is Baleba, you cannot rule him out. I said that I could see him in another jersey, but look, we've always maintained on him on this channel. Baleba is the marquee signing. I know he's a physical player. We all said we needed in the midfield, and I will get on to all that as well. It's more information than a lot of agents coming out with, so there's hope. United fans have become a cheap club. Why didn't United go in for Kone ever since Alex left? We've never been a serious entity. Again, we always go for the mediocre. Frimpong Ghana. I'll touch on the Kone stuff as well. The only thing I like about the 3 midfield we got is they are proven, says Scott. Yes. Okay, this is a solid signing. Mark my words, Baleba will be back before Mount. So why have we shifted away from Kone? So the reason why we have shifted away from Kone are for a couple of reasons. Now look, we've been very, very good on the Kone stuff. The main reason we have shifted away from the Kone is basically the price. The price combined with the age, combined with the wage, and combined with their other clubs. I now fully expect a Newcastle to go in for Kone. I would pretty much say that I should imagine that a Newcastle will go in for Kone. Look, he was seen as expensive. We were looking to try to do the deal for Kone around 45 plus 10. Roma literally want 55 to 60 million. I'm not saying that whether that's good, bad. I'm just saying that those are the facts. So we've again quickly moved away from a Kone. The Kone thing is not going to happen. The wages, Kone won it reportedly 150 to 160, and there are other clubs involved as well. There are different clubs involved. There are the Saudi clubs involved. There are the Geordies involved. Kone has been there to do. Sorry, Baleba has been there to do for the last year. He has specifically said many, many times. Now, let's talk about the player for a second. Now, I have been a fan of Kone on this channel for quite some time. Now, we've said on here, I have been a fan of Kone. I did not I did not believe the rhetoric. I did not buy into other channels' systematic agenda on this player. Baleba, I will admit, we did a show a couple of weeks ago where we looked at the Baleba stats, and I know some people don't like the Baleba stat stuff, but we did a comparison of all of the players. Now, yes, Baleba, and I do have some concerns over the player as well. Yes, Baleba falls short on a couple of bits and pieces. I agree, and I do think he does. But what is fundamental? So Scott, Baleba will be, if it's 60 million over 5 seasons, that's 12. If it's 65, it'll be 13 per season, Scott. So look, it is cheap as chips. I agree with Moss. I don't think this is a marquee signing. I think this is a signing that I think we were always planning to do. But look, we did a comparison with Baleba, with an Anderson, Fernandez, Tonali, Kamara, a couple of other players as well. Is the one thing that stands out, look, he falls towards the bottom of those players in terms of a lot of the attributes that he's got. But one of the things that I fundamentally said for the longest time on this player is defensively, he is elite. The defensive physical attributes of this player, he is an absolute monster. He is a defensive monster. He's second to none. He's second to none in that defensive midfield position. And look, I said last season, this time I would have signed the player, and I would still sign the player. I've never prescribed, whilst other channels have been calling this player out, and I'm sure they will change their tune now. I still don't believe that Baleba as a marquee signing. I think it is an absolute gamble, but what I do like about this player is I do like he gives me what I want. Now, when you look at certain players and you maybe want players who are a hybrid, you want players who are can do different jobs. I want a proper defensive midfielder. This is my personal opinion. I want a proper defensive Kante, and I'm not saying that Baleba is a Kante type. I want a Kante Makalele destroyer, somebody who's quick across the ground, who will win that ball back, who is very, very defensive sound. And Baleba is that for me. I've described Baleba as that for quite some time. He is a player that I like from a defensive perspective, and I'm not going to lie, I like the player. The downside, there are a couple of downsides to this for me. Number one, look, we need a marquee signing. And when I say a marquee signing, I'm talking about a proper elite player who is good at all parts of his game. Baleba, for me, I like him. I've never agreed with the systematic, not abuse because that is the wrong word. I don't agree with the agenda of some other people on channels of this player. He is a defensive monster, and that is what I like. My biggest concern about him is consistency. Is he going to be consistently good enough? And is it enough? Is it still enough for us? Do we have enough experience? Is Tillemans in there enough experience? Is Bruno Fernandes? Now, look, the one good thing I'm going to say about him for me is you will not have to worry. You will not have to be concerned from a defensive from a perspective that Bruno Fernandes, you can almost leave him to do his thing. What he will do is he will absolutely destroy that midfield in a good way. If you are looking for a physical powerhouse midfielder, yes, he doesn't necessarily have the height. I still think he's 6 foot. If you want a destroyer who is powerful and quick across the board, Baleba is that guy. So look, I will get into the chats again. Look, I am encouraged. Look, I like this. So look, if you have just joined, David Ornstein, this isn't me. This isn't a guess. This isn't from an indicator. This isn't from some crappy X source. This is from the man himself. The man himself, David Ornstein. And I'm telling you now, David Ornstein will not get this wrong. David Ornstein will 100% not get this wrong. Now, the other reason why I like the signing, before I go into some of your comments as well, the other reason why I like the signing, the other reason why we have maybe shifted away from a Kone, is because Baleba, you can put him straight into this squad and he knows the Premier League. You know, is he injured? Let's see. I think behind the scenes, Baleba has been looking to push this move for quite some time. So United have made their move. They absolutely have made their move. Look, I should expect in and around 60 plus 5. I would expect this to move very, very, very quickly. I would expect to get a Fabrizio Romano. Here we go. I would expect us to get a Fabrizio Romano. Here we go, very, very soon. The wages wise, I predict 120k a week. You know, this is going to be a very, very cheap deal. So like, get in with your views and opinions. I want to know your comments. I'm going to read them. Please, please, please get in there. Please give the video a like. Come on, look. Players, please give the video a like. It really does help the channel out more than you can imagine. And I'll get into your comments as well. So look, done that one. This isn't a marquee signing. Look, I think that we need to be, you know, I'll read the comments, and do I think that this is enough? Well, I think we need to go get a left back as well. Done that one. How much is it for the season? Griffin, I believe Baleba faked his injury. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. Baleba, I think Baleba wants this move. Look, if people even if people don't like him necessarily, let's just say you've basically bought into the agenda by another person on another channel. Let's just say you've bought into it, right? Let's just say you now think that he's the worst player, and you've listened to a certain person and they've gone, oh, he's rubbish, blah de blah de blah. Okay. One of the things many people have said is that they only want players who want to play for this club. Baleba has done nothing for the last year but basically begged to come to play for this club. If you want a player who only wants to play for this club, Baleba is that player. Whatever anybody thinks about him, number one, if your number one criteria for this player or player is to want to play for the badge, Baleba will play for the badge. He basically has wanted this club for a year. He wants United. That is what he's wanted for the last year. So there is no doubt in my mind, if this, for example, didn't work out or pan out, it's got nothing to do with the desire of the player. It is the attitude. First of all, is absolutely right. I think his attitude is correct. He wants to play for the club as well. So, you know, look, I think that is a fantastic place to start. We need to replace Dallo and Shaw. So Scott, yes, I do agree with you. Do I think this is the last signing? No. I think we get left back as well. I do. I think Salinas. I think he could be the one that is on the agenda as well. Simon says, "Good morning, JB. Is this official that we are finally going to sign Baleba? I would love to read an official item about him." Yes, this is official, Simon. This is from David Ornstein himself. He's not going to get this wrong. He's just not going to. I would give Maz the right back spot and play Amas. Scott, I don't disagree with you, my friend. When the next giveaway, JB? When the channel gets, well, if the channel gets to 70k, then I will look to give some more stuff away. Or if the first video to get 100 likes, the first one to give 100 likes, I will give away shirts. So look, whatever comes first, 100 likes on a video, and or I will then give away. But look, I'll give one away anyway at 70,000. I love Carlos Baleba. Let Bruno be Bruno. Andy says, I agree. I said we needed a CDM. People have been saying we are moving on from having a sitter in there defending. We're going towards more of a CM. I think this free up the ballers in the team. I agree with you on that one. I even think Santos. Look, I even think this gives Santos an opportunity as well, by the way, because look, I know Santos is a defensive midfielder, but I think that there is scope for Santos to kind of push towards maybe not quite a number 8, but let's just say we're under the cosh. We've now potentially got 2 CDMs as well, so I think that gives us an option. Selling for scraps. Do you think this is it? No. I think a left back will come in. I do. I think a left back will come in. I think Salinas, I keep mentioning him. David Rahm, I think keep an eye out on Rahm and Salinas as well. Scott said, my mate in Spain said Athletic are interested in Fernandez. Well, look, if Atletico want to stump up the money, the fact that now the basically the clause in his contract is up. If you want to give us 60-70 million, then he's all yours. When I was a young man, when we first went for Baleba, I've aged and lost all my hair since. What's the latest on Bruno Fernandez? We'll look at the moment. It is basically the contract isn't signed. Why do we sign players with injuries? We somehow need someone who can actually start and not wait for him to recover. And again, Simon, look, this is how look, Ineos have been talking. Ineos have been talking about plans. Okay, they've been talking about the right moves in this market. They've been talking about shrewd moves. They've been talking about this plan. Baleba, and this is not a dig at the player. What plan? Baleba is not new. We've basically been waiting for the Baleba price to come down. That is what we've clearly left. That is what the Wilcox strategic plan has all been about. It's been about waiting for prices to come down because Baleba, let's be honest. Let's be honest about this. Nobody else is in for the player. Nobody else wants the player. I'm not saying he's not going to be good. Let's be called, let's call eggs, right? Baleba, nobody else is in for the player. And I'm not saying that nobody else wants him. What I'm saying is that nobody else is in for the player. It's not like Madrid are in there. It's not like Bayern are in there. None of the top teams have even entered the race or looked to go and get the player. And this is where we are. Is it because he will turn down everything else, or is it because that there is such a risk involved with this player? that no one else has come in for him. So look, this has always been the plan. This is the Ineos strategic plan, is basically to go for players that nobody else wants, and it is not a philosophy. It is not a philosophy. It is not a plan. It is let's go and get players that we think are going to be good and that nobody else wants. Mustard, if they get him, do you think they'll have saved money to get Lewis Hall? No. Lewis Hall, Moss is. I don't believe. Look, Lewis Hall for me is not one that we're going to do this season. 100% not. Because look, we would have to pay at this point in time. I think what people need to realise, and I think I wanna shift the Lewis Hall conversation a little bit, and I want to give respect a little bit to the Geordies. Now, the reason why I do want to do that is because of this. Look, it is not a case of are we going to save up the money to sign Lewis Hall? It is a case of do Newcastle want to sell the player? I want to change the rhetoric on this sort of slightly, because this is not about whether we want to sign, whether we've got enough money or funds to go and sign a Hall. It is whether or not the Geordies want to sell the player. So I don't think that we will do that. So what we're saying as well, we don't need Baleba, we need Kone. United have realised it's too good. It's good to go for cheap players. How did United end up this way? Well, Emmanuel, the Glazers. The reason why we ended up this way is because of the Glazers. And guys, please give the video a like as well. It does help the channel. Just get this video up to 20 to 30 likes. I promise you, it really does help the channel out a lot. It's because of the Glazers. It's because we are cheap. What if Baleba is a diamond in the rough? Look, Ray, I believe Baleba, I agree with you. I said last season that I would have signed him. And the videos are there. I would have signed him at £100 million. And the reason I would have signed him at that price, and I'll give you my thinking behind it. I'm glad we didn't. The reason I would have signed him is because he's still young. The raw attributes of this player are phenomenal. Defensively, if you want an elite all-round action midfielder that is Champions League proven, a winner, there are very few of those players around. Chouameni is that player. But what you've got to understand is Chouameni is going to cost you 90 to 100 million pounds. If you want the potential next Chouameni, the potential next Kante, the potential next whomever it is, Baleba for me is that player. He is a defensive monster. Now, if you want a super elite player that's got all of the attributes, the passing, etc., Baleba isn't that. Baleba isn't that. He's not that. Will he ever get to that level? I don't know. But what he is, if you want a specialist defensive midfielder, which I do, by the way, Baleba for me, his stats are consistent. I think his stats are good. But let's not pretend here that this is a coup. Let's not pretend that this is a coup from, we have walked into Brighton and we've taken their player. Brighton are still getting 65 for a player that basically, let's be honest, was a bench warmer last season. His stats when he played, they were good, but let's be clear here. Baleba for the last year has been a little bit of a bench warmer. Then that one. So where do you think we'll finish? Where do you think United will finish? Other streams are saying with these new signings that we'll win the Premier League. We're not winning the Premier League. We are not going to win a Premier League with these signings. Look, where I am with this, Baleba does change the conversation. Look, getting that extra midfield player in is going to be is going to change. Is going to change the ethos of this club. Now look, if we go get a left back, this is where I think that this helps us. If we get a left back, we'll now sign this player. Centre midfield, a left back. It gives us a chance to finish in the Champions League spaces. I do not believe this season that third, because of the Champions League, is going to be a very, very difficult season. We need depth. We need players in. So I think what this does, and I would be happy. I would be happy. The focus should not be on winning the league. The focus should be on let's get Champions League, because what we need to realize this, we want a quick fix. Okay, if you get into the Champions League every single season for the next 5 years, those of you who want to sign £100 million players, that will happen. But we've got to get into the Champions League every single season. If we do that, our focus every season from now on, yes, I want to win the league. We are focusing on the wrong things. We need to focus on consistency. We can't go from 15th to 3rd Champions League to win a league. It could happen. We need consistency. I think the mindset in this fan base needs to be, let us go one game at a time. Let's get the depth in there. Let's get rid of a Luke Shaw. Let's bring these players in, and let's see, and is this ambition? Look, I like Baleba. I really like the player. So for me, look, is this an elite player? No. But look, this is a statement of intent. And look, I really do want this player to succeed. Other players get injured. This is his first big injury. Other streams have no clue, says Switch. I just hope that Baleba hasn't come out of the same mold as Mason Mount. No, look, look, we've been offered a Camavinga, right? Camavinga will be a Mount. Baleba is not Mount. Look, the thing with him is he's a very explosive player. When you are explosive, sadly, that is what can happen. You can pick up injuries very, very easily, but I don't think he is. And the price has come down. You never stop moaning. This is 50%. And the price has come down. You never stop moaning. This is 50% less than he was the season before last. I never said I wasn't moaning. Look, Joel, you're going to have your opinions on this, right? And I'm going to have mine. If you listen to what I'm saying here, I'm not. And again, Joel, I think that's a very simplistic, simple-minded opinion to have, because I'm giving an opinion. Apparently, I'm moaning. I think that's just a really simplistic, low IQ way of you trying to close me down because you don't like what I'm saying to you. I'm not moaning, and even if I was, who cares? What I'm saying here is this. I like the signing. I even don't mind the money. I've even just said to you that I would have signed him last season when that price was high. I'm questioning the signing here on the basis that if you want to be the best and you want to be the most elite of a club, yes, you can sign players that nobody else wants. Okay. Alarmins. Nobody saw him. We signed the player. Cunha, Mbumo. Okay. But whether you like it or not, if you look at successful clubs over the last 10 years, Man City won a treble. Did Man City go out and buy players that nobody else were in for? No. If you want to win things, you've got to go and get elite players. At the moment, Baleba is not elite. I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I'm not even complaining about the deal. What I'm doing this morning is that with as any good and rightful channel should do is question everything. I'm not going to sit here, Joel, and I'm not going to be jumping up and down. Get in there, Baleba, get in there. 60 million, 100 million. We got him down to 60. Get in there, lads. Go on, the lads. Oh, we really smashed them up. No, Joel, because only prats do that. Only idiots do that. Only low IQ idiots who want to basically be clickbaiters, who only basically want to toxic positivity you, will sit there and tell you, oh my god, get in there, lads, we got Baleba, no one else wants Baleba, we got him for 65 million. No one else wants him. No one else is in for him. But we've got him at a good price of 65 million pounds. Get in there. You know, and what is it that you want me to do? Look, I'm not saying the deal is a poor deal. You're not listening. Joe is making it up. You're making your own agenda towards me based on I'm saying words that you don't agree with, and you can't understand clearly that it's not black or white. You've got black, white, and grey, and everything in between. I don't necessarily look. I don't think that this is a bad deal. I think for 60 million plus 5, I think that this is a deal that I would do if you've watched the shows a number of times, that I would say that I would do this deal for 60 million. But it doesn't mean to say that you just jump up and down. You've got to question every single deal as to why we are doing the deal. You can't just blindly look. If Joe, if in life, if you want to blindly go and blindly accept what you're told without questioning things, then that is up to you. But that is not how I do it on this channel, Joe. And if it's not for you, you don't have to sit here, listen to me. You don't have to do that. You are perfectly within your rights. I'm sure there are other channels. There are so many channels that you can find that will fit into what you think is right. You don't have to be here. But look, thank you for the comment. I said United will win the first 5 games. We should win 5 of 5, 15 points, top of the league. I've done that one. Get in there, guys. Keep getting in there with your chats as well. I want to know everything about this deal. Let me get in there. You guys are on it. Done that one. SS Red says, as long as his current injury isn't serious, he's a perfect signing. I hope it's possible to get Hall as well, but I'm not a United accountant. Look, I don't think. Look, Newcastle don't want to sell him, so I don't think that will happen. Sky is in the house. I hope Sky is doing extremely well as well. Yes, Carlos Baleba is pretty much done. This is from David Ornstein. The fact that United are the only team in for Baleba isn't true. Newcastle, they were, well, look, they were after him. Look, we have spoken about on this channel, but look, let's be honest, they're not really in contention either, really, are they? So Simon says we might as well sign Jerry Lewis. So Newcastle don't want to sell Isak, Bruno, the list goes on. Point is irrelevant. No, it's not, Joel. No, it's not, Joel. Because I tell you why the point is not. Look, Joel's clearly coming in with an agenda. Look, Joel, I have absolutely destroyed better and more intelligent people than you. So there's nothing else, Joel, that you can say to me that's gonna, look, Newcastle didn't want to sell. Let me tell you the reason why it's not an irrelevant point, right? Is this Mbappe is not for sale. Any player is not for sale. The moment you put massive cash down, they are for sale. The point I'm making on a Hall is Lewis Hall for sale? Yes. No. Could he be sold? Yes. But what did Liverpool have to do to get the player signed. They had to shell out 130 fucking million quid. So if you're telling me that that is an irrelevant point, that they don't want to sell, but they will sell, yeah, fine. That's true, but Newcastle will get their money. They want a world record fee for a left back. We would have to drop £75 million down to get Lewis Hall. They don't want to sell. That is true, but the point is not an irrelevant point. The point is that they will want massive, massive cash. And if you can't understand that, Joel, that's up to you, my friend. I don't want Hall. I'd take anyone over Shaw, and Baleba is better than Kone. Time to raffle off Xerxes and Shaw. We seem to be having less trolls coming into the chat. Well, we've got one in there, but you know, I don't care. When the transfer window is over in a few weeks, they will say in Jan they will sign Lewis Hall and Shu and Maney. We won't so sure he will go on free. Exactly, I do agree with you completely. Switch. They will say on other streams, yeah. Done that one. On TV, there is a Careco ad. Both Shaw and Mount are ideal on there. Apart from the ball winning, what does he do good? I don't know how to feel about the signing. So look, Leffa, what do I like about the Baleba signing? So one of the things that I do like is this. Look, I like the fact that he's a powerful player who is quick across the ground. He's powerful. Look, his defensive stats are very, very good. And look, the one thing I will say that apart from winning the ball, duels, recycling of the ball as well, in terms of those defensive recovery stats, recovery of the ball, he is elite. Now look, Leffa, I think the point you raise is a very, very good and a very, very pertinent point. And the reason that it is one of the things, Leffa, that I question. What else does he do? What else? Anything else he does? Look, he is a defensive centric player. Leffa, this is a gamble signing. And the reason I say that it is a gamble signing is one, defensively, we're buying him for those defensive stats. But the other stats, the progressive passing, the getting the ball from front to back, those are the stats that really, really need to improve. And I agree with you. Look, I think this is a worthy gamble at 60 to 65 in this market. Look, guys, I don't prescribe to wages and fees. I think it is success that dictates and drives the fee, and will tell you if that is worth a buy or not. Look, Leffa, for me, the reason I like the signing is because basically of the defensive stats, and hopefully over time, I've just seen switch, over time, that will be able to improve those. So for me, I'm comfortable that we've got a defensive minded, defensive centric player. That is what I wanted, and that is what I do like. Done that one. Some said done that one. Get rid of Shaw. That's JB's favourite player, says Switch, or you are cheeky, Switch. If Shaw was a horse, they would have been put into pasture for years. Cowabunga could be a Liverpool player. That wouldn't surprise me. See what else we're saying in here. Get in there as well. Done that one. Andy says 21 G's. Oh, to be that, yeah. Jesus Christ. Was Chouameni elite when Madrid signed him? Was Roger elite when City signed him? Yet you need to make these stars, and Baleba has the attributes, done it in the league. It's a move to celebrate. Look, SS Red, look again. Look, I like opinions, right? I do. But let me tell you an alternative to that. Look, will I celebrate the move? Now, personally, I will celebrate the move because I like the player. Look, I think at the moment, look, people will misconstrue this. The fact I'm not jumping up and down, the fact I'm not punching the air, The fact that I'm giving you the positives, the negatives, and everything in between on this player. People get it confused that I won't celebrate the player. I will celebrate the signing because I like the player. Look, this is a very personal thing. When people sign players, it's a personal thing. I like the player, and I personally will celebrate the signing because I like the signing. I've liked the player since last season. I wanted us to sign him at 60 million. I'm happy. I like the player. I really, really do. The only thing I'm going to say to you, SS Red, is Rodri and Chouameni, if memory serves me correctly, didn't he come into a midfield of a Luka Modric? Didn't he go into a midfield of a Tony Cruz? When you've got Luka Modric, Tony Cruz, and the ability to learn from those two multiple winning Champions League players, they're going to rub off on you as a player. Rodri. When Rodri went into Rodri, let's not pretend he was a bad player. Look, he played in Spain with some fantastic plays. He's played in the Spanish team with some fantastic plays. He went into De Bruyne, Silva. Look, he went into the City side. Baleba is not going into that. Whilst I do agree with you, I absolutely fundamentally do agree with what you are saying. And I am happy. Look, I am happy with the signing. Where I'm going to slightly give you a different curveball for me is Rodri went into an elite Man City side. Chouameni went into one of the most elite, one of the most experienced defensive midfield partnership over the last 10 years. So look, whilst I do agree with you, I think it is a move to celebrate. I think is the wrong word, but I think it is a move to say, look, this is a good move. Should they be praised? Look, I think there is a certain amount maybe that there should be an acceptance that, look, this could be a good move. But SS Red, I don't think that the comparison is fair. I'm sorry, I don't. Because Baleba is not coming into a midfield of Casemiro. He's not coming into a midfield of Roy Keane and Paul Ince. He's not going into a midfield of Tony Cruz, Silva, De Bruyne. He's coming into a midfield of Santos. Ugarte is injured. Kobe Mainu is still raw. Tillemans, yes. So I don't think that that's a natural comparison, but I do understand what you're saying. Done that one. See what else we're saying in here as well. God, you guys been in there. You're busy. Please give the video a like as well. It does help the channel out. Please. God, you guys have been busy. Done that one. Leewood says it's about time they got another midfielder. I would look at Ram from Leipzig. I think they could move for Ram, a German international. Yes. I will not disagree with that one. For JB is the you are. Oh, Scott, I love it. What is the news on the left back? Look, the current news on the left back is I think it's going to be one of Salinas or Ram. I would probably say Ram. I think Ram could be the one as well. JB, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you on the signing? I would go, look, I would say on this player, I would say, right, if we'd have just signed him, I would have said 8. My score on this player at the moment is a 7. And the reason that it is because Ineos and the Glazers take the joy out of signing players. I personally like this player. I would score him as a signing. For me, for what I want, a 7.5 to an 8, because I really like the player. Look, for the longest time, and again, for those of you who doubt me just because I'm not jumping up and down, I am not that sort of person. If you want somebody to jump up and down, look, you're on the wrong channel for that. That isn't me. I like the player. I am 7.5 out of 10 happy, only because Ineos have sucked the joy out of this completely. I like Baleba. I really do. So I am happy with that signing. Um, Favel should use the Leipzig connections to get Ram. Hopefully, are we still going to go for a striker? I think so. Look, the striker news wise, what is there on the striker at the moment? So look, the news on the striker at the moment is basically, look, if there's time, if there is time to do a striker, then we will look to do a striker. I've seen Tony being spoken about as well, but as we spoke about last night, the only way that Tony happens is if he comes on loan. He's got 2 years left on his deal. He's on 400k a week. Look, we're not going to buy the player unless they tear up his contract. We are not going to buy the player. I would say Mateta. I like Mateta. I would go Mateta for 20 million to 25 million. Ram and Carlos Baleba. If we get those three, then I think that we've probably salvaged a window. And again, it's not a perfect window, but at least we would have managed to salvage a window. Are you a believer, JB? Look, I've look, switched. I don't know how long you've watched the channel, but last season, this time last year, I wanted us to sign him. I've always liked the player, and I am happy. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I do like the signing. I wanted to do it, but let's see how good he is. We won't go for a striker, maybe a left back. We have Shesko, Cunha, Xerxes, and Mbumo, Rashford, who can all play up top. So I don't see us signing a striker. Simon has to go. See you later, my friend. The reversible 2001 kit. I'm a Baleba now, mate. Some good news. Exactly. Yes, this top is a fantastic top. If we put as much effort into the transfers as into our PR for Rashford, we will get all the players that we want. JB isn't jumping up and down because we get dizzy if he does. Exactly. I kind of blend into the background as well. Forget punching the air, JB. I want cartwheels. I mean, look, if I tried to do a cartwheel, I would end up on the floor. JB, speak louder. I'm watching at work. I will try my best. Done that one. If JB stands up fast, he'll pass out. Yes, I will do. Why agree terms with Kone when we are going to sign him? Kone is far better. So look, the Kone stuff. So why did we agree terms with him? Look, Kone was on the agenda. Look, we basically pursued Kone because look, Kone was seen as 40 to 45. We've been looking at Kone for the last 2 years. We genuinely thought Kone was going to be 40 to 45 and his wages were going to be somewhere about 100 million. He basically went to the World Cup. The price increased. Now, the reason why we did agree terms with the player, Simon, Jono, is basically that is what you do. You go to the player. It's tapping up, but you go to the player. You basically agree a price. You agree a price. And then you try to work with that as well. So look, I understand that. That is what we do. See what else are we saying in here? Ignore, yeah, exactly. JB is the original believer. Yo, I am. But look, guys, on that note, I do have to go. But look, it was a show I wasn't expecting to do this early this morning. But look, if you have just joined or you don't know, Baleba, the story on him has been broken by David Ornstein. The deal is pretty much going to be done. 60 million plus 5. And look, I think this is a good deal. I like the player. I think there are some channels who have had a agenda against this player and now going to have to eat some humble pie. They of course they won't do that. But look, I am happy. So let's see how this progresses. I can see this moving very, very quickly. I can see this probably getting pushed over the line in the next couple of hours, certainly towards the back end of the week. If we get a here we go, I will update you on that as well. But look, this is a good day, and have Ineos finally made the marquee signing that they planned to make. So look, guys, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I am JB. I will be back this evening. And look, guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. You guys are legends. And again, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I am JB. This is the United Devil channel. And Baleba, I am a